What's up, everybody, to the March 9th, 2024 live recap. We have been in extremely bullish market conditions, breaking all-time highs, reaching new highs, right? Today, I want to go over the week ending in 3/8/2024. We're going to break down some trades. We're going to break down the edge we looked for, and more importantly, just how to identify and understand market conditions, right? Like, what our edge actually looks like, what we look for on a day in and day out basis, right? So we got a bunch of stuff to go over, and break down some losers, break down some winners, and etc. Right? So we're waiting for some people to go on. What up, Debo? Another good, bro. We are doing extremely well, man. We're gonna break down this week. And yeah, no, I could hear you perfect. Hold on a second. I actually need to restart everything because when
sorry about that.
No, you're good. Actually, no, I don't. No, it wasn't. It's not on you. It was on me, but I think we're good. Because sometimes when I change audio on Vimeo, it restarts the video, but I think we're good, actually. So,
Yeah, let's get it.
bro,
How are you doing, Novak?
Novak, what up, bro? Novak is live.
Let's go. Let's have a great meeting.
Yes, sir. Dude, first of all, amazing. Dude, we're in a market that we're not used to, right? And, as a trader, you have to be able to adapt to all scenarios, all situations, all, basically anything, right? Identify and adapt, right? Identify our edge and adapt to it with flawless execution, right? Like that's my whole philosophy. I mean, look at this market. 2022. Wow, I didn't know 2022 was that bullish. Look at that, dude. Extremely bullish.
Oh, bro, it's nuts. It's nuts. And just when you think, so I was looking back at the weekly time frame, and it's been so long since we had a red week, right?
Yeah.
And there was one Friday when I was like, all right, the probability of us closing on a red week is pretty high since we haven't had one so far. And that definitely caused me to be more bearish than I should have.
Yeah.
A couple of Fridays ago, I can't remember.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, that's not our edge. Like, yeah, it's a little observation you make, but that's not your edge.
Well,
like,
no,
you can't base your trade based on that.
No.
At all. And then, sure enough, it just closed super bullish, like the longest bottom wick that we had ever seen. And it just proved to me that, like, it's not your edge, and coming up with these little thoughts that we have doesn't really do us any good.
It's so crazy how those little thoughts like that, bro, will literally mess up everything. Like when the decision-making process, it's so wild, right? Because like you have your edge, you have your strategy, right? Of, whatever it is we deem an edge. And then those little thoughts like that, bro, will literally be the leading factor to going long or short. It's wild. It's insane, right? So good catch on that, bro. I do that constantly, right? And it's like that's where that whole identify your edge objectively, right? And how important that is, right? That's a big one for me.
Yeah.
Friday, I failed. I couldn't wrap my head around a bearish scenario. So I just didn't trade. And that's where like identifying your weaknesses and turning them into strengths, right? Like not always are we going to be able to, see things clearly, right? And maybe we will one day, but as of right now, I just have to focus on, if I'm not seeing it properly, to remove myself from the scenario until I can. And that's a powerful, you know what I mean? Like it's okay.
100%.
I love what you said the other day, bro, when you're like, I have nothing to prove to myself, bro, like, or the market, right? Because like, take a day like Friday where, let me make sure I'm sharing my screen. A day like Friday, right? Where, like I said, I couldn't wrap my head around a bearish scenario. So instead of going, okay, I know this is going to be bullish, where do I find the long? Maybe it's off open print retest, right? Like that's where that ego, the egoic mind kills us, because if I can't understand a bearish scenario and the market's bearish, I'm going to look for ways to prove to myself I'm right. And then I'm going to take this long and get cracked. And then I might take this long and get cracked. Oh, well, maybe this is a okie doke. Maybe it's a false, whatever it is, right? And so instead, just being like, okay, you know what? I put on this L, super bearish. We were breaking levels, false break above the highs, right? Very, very, very bearish. And like being like, oh, you know what? Okay, I can't wrap my head around it. So I'm just gonna step back. Bam. That right there, right? Like that acceptance of like, dude, maybe right now I'm not seeing clearly, and that's fine. I have nothing to prove. That's why when you said that the other day, bro, I was like, oh, bro, it's just that's it, dude. Because like once we don't need to prove anything.
Yeah. Then you can just, then you can just also know if you're in harmony with the market, and if you're not, then it's completely fine. Like we always talk about a bullish and bearish scenario, right? We've mentioned it many times before, but that's not saying that if you're not bullish, you have to be bearish or vice versa. Like if you're not, like the only time you should be trading is when you know the market story.
Yeah.
And if you don't know the market story, it doesn't mean you're a bad trader. It doesn't mean you're, you're anything negative. It just means that you're not seeing the market. What you're expecting to see the market clearly 24/7? Nobody does. That's
right.
Not even realistic.
Right.
So if this is just a time when the market's moving and you're not seeing clearly, you
so
got
be
really
it.
other things to do in your day. You don't have to stay at the market and firing off bad trades.
Yeah. Right. You're trying to prove to yourself you're a great trader. Like that. That right there it's so powerful, bro, because that was one of my like, that was big, dude. That's a big like, that it's just little stuff like that, man. But all right, we're gonna rip right into it, dude. We got Monday, right? So Monday I took 2 trades, 2 longs. Really, I'm gonna pull up the 1 hour right next to it. I've been using, everyone knows like that 1 hour is my guideline. Big time. And one of the main reasons is it's just going to help you like understand the overall picture, right? So we had all-time high, I think it was at 513.31, which was previous day high. And more importantly, look at the 9 on the 1 hour. We're hugging it. We're not extended. We're like, look at the day before, bro, last Friday. Hug the 9 the whole day. Like,
oh yeah, I remember.
When you're hugging the 9, the chances of her continuing in that direction are extremely high. Like even right here, dude, look at this sell off and then the snapback, right? Like, moral of the story is get acquainted with what that healthy and not healthy relationship looks like with the 9, right? Those gaps and, just the no gaps, it just really helps me like give me that little extra confidence in trading with the trend, right? Like that helped me big time, like going into Monday, because we got that slight gap down. This is what it looks like without pre-market data on the left. And I really like days like Monday because what you're going to see here is 2 really small moves. Nothing crazy. It was literally 70-cent move and then a 70-cent move. And they were very simple. We gapped down. First things first, we establish open print, right? And you guys see this every day in my pre-market plan. You're probably noticing it's very repetitive, which is the goal, is I'm looking for strength and structure off open print, right? I pretty much write that every day. And what that means is like we have our bullish scenario, which is all-time high. And then we get our bearish scenario, which is like, obviously like previous day low. But in this case, right, my first bearish target would have been 513.37. Something of that nature. And what I'm looking for is somebody to control the open. This isn't the first break and retest I see. This isn't, this is just, I'm looking for someone to control the open. And then to make a trade targeting either my bullish target or my bearish target. So we get that move off the open and I'm just super patient. I want to see a pullback or some sort of battle or some sort of reason where I'm now convinced sellers lost. And you can see we got this beautiful pullback into the open print, bro, right here. Like, and what I like about this is it wasn't really perfect. And, sometimes we get that.
was.
Yeah, this is the 5 minute with no pre-market on. And check, and like,
Yeah.
once again, that 9 too, bro, just really helped me. Oh, well, and look at it with pre-market data. Beautiful inverse head and shoulders. Like left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Look at the move into the open, bro, with the gap in price, right? So before this was green, this was completely red. Massive gap in price, snapped into the open, came up, candle closed. I'm still not in the trade until the next candle comes down, can't make another low. I had a really good entry on this. Took SPX long, targeting end of day, right? So what's really cool here, though, is price didn't go to end of day, right? It's not perfect. I shouldn't even expect it to. But one thing, oh, well, it did. What am I talking about? It ripped
I think it did,
yeah, it ripped right into it. I was going to make a point off pre-market structure, but no, this was a perfect gap fill. So, but
it was pre-market high too.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. And dude, pre-market, bro, leaves like pre-market leaves you clues. Seller here.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
There's nothing, I think we talked about this in yesterday's live, but like there's nothing better than watching a level such as end of day in this scenario be respected in pre-market as well. Like it just adds to its significance. So, I mean, look at the structure on this, bro. This like a day like this just highlights structure so much for me. Like, look at how that first initial move ripped right into 512.59, reject, comes down, get the snap back, boom. And then like that 1 hour though really helped me here because like end of day was really
1 hour doing?
It was really close, bro. It was like by the time I was in this trade, I got in around like 512.30. So like this was a 60-cent move, which on SPX I think made me around 35%. I'd have to double check. Just a quick little move to the upside. And then once again that that 9 just helped me book the profits.
This day I was having a hard time seeing a move to the upside happen, and I don't know why. It's just when I hit my journal later, I realized that like I was not open to a bullish scenario. I was only open to bearish, and I took 2 shorts, and I got stopped out, and then that was it. That was the end of the day for me. But I don't know why I was so focused on price actually pulling back. I think we had what time frame are you on right now?
This is the 5. This is the 1 hour without pre-market. Let me put pre-market on the 1 hour.
Because I think I was eyeing a break and retest, pulling back to some level.
509.
Oh, yes, over 510.
Yeah.
509. Yeah, exactly. So I was like obsessed with price knifing down there, grabbing liquidity off that previous high.
Yeah, 510. Yeah.
And going to make new highs.
Well,
which it did. It did it the day after, but I was just obsessed with it happening on Monday, and it never did.
Just like we were just talking about, we get these things in our mind, bro. 510 was such a significant level from the previous week too.
Yeah.
And dude, that's literally it ripped into there.
We can't time it.
No,
we can't time it. We just got to stay present and see what's happening, and just have the balls to be like, all right, it's not happening today.
Yeah.
Like, and stop fighting it.
Exactly, and so that once again that 9 on the 1 hour when we closed above it, that gave me a little more confidence again to play with buyers. You can see we just got above that 9 on the 1 hour and the candle before it, right? So closing above the candle before it, above the 9, just kind of helped me be like, okay, well, buyers they showed more strength than sellers as of right now, and that helped me take this trade right here. Once again, really, really quick trade. But what I really liked about this trade is I'm just watching price action. It's coming in the end of day. It's get a lower high off end of day. So I'm not gonna lie, I was initially like kind of bearish. And what time was this at? This was at 11:35. So yes, so we already had these 2 candles on the 1 hour coming into EOD, and we closed above the 9 on the 1 hour, right? Which kind of gave me, once again, just that little extra oomph to want to trade with buyers. And then I was looking for that bearish setup to form, though, that bear trap we always talk about, right? I was looking for that break, that HPT pattern, the break of structure, the retest. And then on this candle, when we closed the 9, when sellers tried, I was like, okay, I'm willing to put, like, on this candle, I think I had the 2-minute out, actually. I used the 2-minute maybe twice this week for entries. Check. So they looked like this over here on the 2-minute, but you can see we're ripping into it, rip above it, right? And at this point, I'm willing to put on risk. I think I got in. Yeah, dude, I got in this at like 512.70 and just caught this little move up. And then we were really extended from the 9, booked it.
We were hunting all-time highs, right?
Yes. Well,
that was still below all-time high, I believe.
Still below it. So that was, oh, dude, remember? We were very bullish. This chart looks so bullish. And then it literally reversed. And that's the power. I think we talked about this recently of understanding your risk reward ratio, right? So when I like to make around anywhere from 200 to 400 off my premiums, right? So per contract, like 200 and above, right? I need to at least bring in 200 off one contract, though. That's what sustains my profitability. So when I put on this trade, I caught a really nice move, almost like a $4 move on the premium, right? So like $400, and coupled with being extended from the 9, I was once again okay with booking profits here and reassessing the scenario, right? I remember writing in Discord trim. Because once again, like Darren said, I don't need to prove to myself I'm a good trader by capturing a move into all-time high. I used to beat myself up. Like, say this continued to rally into all-time high. Like, I used to beat myself up for not getting this extra 30 cents. But you have to ask yourself, what are the current conditions? And are you willing to risk that, right? Like trading SPX at this time of the day, you're up $4 on your premiums. This pullback's going to cost you more than half that. And now I have to hope buyers defend this. I don't like hoping. I like executing, right? So, moral of the story is don't be afraid to lock in your risk reward ratio, right? Like, don't be afraid to lock that in. If you're just selling because you're up a little bit, that's not going to work, right? Because you're not aware of what your risk reward ratio is. There's a difference between booking profits just to book them and then booking profits because that's what makes your profitability work, right? So
exactly. The other thing is, dude, is that I believe, well, so at least for me, I'm trading multiple contracts. Obviously, I'm not doing SPX, I'm doing SPY. But as the price moves in my direction, it scales me out. So often that lets me leave my runners to go even further. Obviously, if we reverse and come back down, I'm going to be stopped out, but it's still going to be a green trade.
Right.
Versus if I just had one contract, I'm likely to take it earlier because if it turns against me, I'm going to be left with a full max loss trade.
Exactly.
Versus, so at least for me, this is why I really like scaling out as the position moves in my favor, which then that allows me to not worry about small reversals, and I can actually wait for price to hit my target. But it all has to do with how many contracts you're trading. And shout out to anybody who's trading one contract, because that is not easy. And if you get good at that, you're going to absolutely kill it.
Yeah, that's the truth. Like going to SPX, trading one contract sometimes too, like it's really gotten me so aware of finding a process or an equation that works for me and repeating it, right? Like, like Darren just said, depending on what you're trading, it's going to be different. If you're trading SPX, this pullback's going to cost you, $2 on your premium, like $250. That risk, I guess what I'm saying is risk reward isn't just money. it's your equation too, right? Like if I'm putting on a trade on SPX and I want another 30 cents out of it to sustain my ego, right? Like, am I willing to risk 60% of my profits to do that? No. Right. Okay. So that's my equation, right? That's what works for, what works for me. On the flip side of that coin, if I'm trading something else that has less of a, pullback on premium, right? It may make more sense to hold it. It's all about being aware of what you're doing and what works and what you're trying to accomplish, right? Like, for the longest time, I was just shooting in the dark and I was like, oh, I'll hold this today. Or, oh, no, I'm going to book it quick, right? And it's like, as you get more structured in like clear about your equation, what works, it makes these decisions much more easier in the now moment, right? And like your execution gets much, much better.
Yep.
And then we got
We got some tomfoolery later in the day. That one candle was like the entire price action of the day in one candle, basically.
Dude, just rallied. I did not get any of that.
Yeah.
It just cooked.
No, me neither. I was done.
I can't imagine though. But just for giggles, dude, look at how it held the 9. Like, I just want to burn this in everybody's head. It doesn't matter how far price goes. If it holds the 9, it's a healthy trend, right? If it like, once again, the gaps come from a change in direction, right? It's a moving average, meaning it's calculating the average price of the commodity. So when you're getting a massive, sway in price, it's going up, down, it's going to create a gap, right? Like even right here, look at this massive quick sell, right? It just sold and ripped up. Like, just be aware of this. You know how many times I would take a short play because we dropped below a low right here? Close below the level. I'm in it short. You're going to get smoked, right? So, like, I don't know. Just that 9 has really helped me with my entries and, like, being patient, right? Because now it's not being patient. It's doing what makes sense. So
I had no idea there was even news this day. I don't know what it was. I didn't really see it on Market Watch, so I don't know. I can't remember what that was, but wild.
Then Tuesday, bro. Tuesday. Not gonna lie, Tuesday was a rather struggling day for me, dude. Once again, I couldn't get my head around puts, bro. Like day started off, I was really it looked very bearish, right? We had open print right here. Let me map out real quick. I want to do the levels on this day.
So yeah, it was a little bit confusing. But we were trading in the price action of Thursday last week, and I'll admit that there was not really any clear zones from this day.
Yeah.
I had one drawn out at 507.40 or around 507, I want to say. Yeah.
Right here.
Just because we kind of had an inverse head and shoulders there.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really. I mean, it was respected a little bit, I guess.
Yeah,
eventually we broke through it and sold off.
What I want to point out about this day is the morning move, bro. Do you understand how close I was at taking this long? But I was never close because we were so extended from the 9. See, this is the thing, bro. Like, opened up. This is a classic move for me, considering we get acceptance above open print. If we got accepted, because I wanted that gap fill, right? And this is actually a great example of how to trade a gap fill, because to trade a gap fill successfully, right? You're getting a massive gap down. Let me pull it up without pre-market data real quick, because this is really good right here. So where is she? Right here. Big gap down, right? Obviously, the gap play is ideal, right? Super extended down. Sellers lose structure off pre-market, right? So how I'm looking at this is I grab pre-market low, day opens, holding the 9, sellers are holding pre-market, right? I don't want to just short this immediately. I'm being patient. Buyers come in and invalidate. Boom. Look at how extended we are. The 9 is at 509.86. We're literally almost $1 away from the 9. So with that knowledge, right, where extension means pullback, I can't take this long until I see the 9 get respected. I mean, the 9 is just like, and this is one of those things, right, Darren? Like, how many people went long here because the candle closed above the open? Like,
yeah, people had buy stops there.
Oh, 100%.
You know,
like, we broke structure and closed above it. I'm in it. Well, look at tons of them stomped out on the way down, right? Like, that's why, like, when I'm playing that gap fill, like over here on this chart to the left, I need to see a solid retest especially in this scenario, or at least price respecting the 9, right? So the 2 minutes going to show you, right? Ended up selling right through it. But more importantly, on the 5, super extended from the 9, no structure, which kept me from entering this long. And then where I failed is, and I put this in my journal, is at what point did, I had a really good understanding of the story here, but didn't play off it, is what I'm getting at. Like, in my mind, I'm going, so many people are going for this gap fill, and they just all got smoked. How do I make money off this? And there was tons of ways, which I just neglected to take. I mean, the biggest one, right, is like price coming down to the lows, retesting right here, sell off, price coming down to 508, retesting right here, sell off. I took one trade when price came into that level, Darren, that you were talking about, that was respected.
Oh, yeah.
I really, once we closed above the 9 here, and then came up to, what is this, 507.52, I caught a little long right here up to 508. Once again, right, like that price got a bit extended here, so I booked it. And this is the power, once again, of there's different ways to trade, right? Sometimes we hold trades. Other times, especially when you're trading, I guess you could say, against the conditions, because this is ultra bearish, you want to book your target or your trade at your target. I mean, this was a clear example of how quick this thing hit 508 and just rejected. So, but once again, right, I just was really aware that I couldn't really get my head around shorts, even though, like, in the Discord, I was like, dude, keep an eye on 508. Like, 508, if we hold below 508, we're gonna it's gonna get bloody, and it did. I just didn't like the day, and that's okay, dude. It's not like, once again, right, you have nothing to prove, right? Like, that was it for me.
I wasn't seeing clearly this day either. I missed one beautiful setup. If you look on QQQ, that sell-off was absolutely beautiful, with a green bar ignored getting retested right in the morning.
Oh, wow.
I'm sure Todd took this.
Oh, dude. Bro, I didn't
go to the 5 minute.
Oh, my.
Go to the 5 minute.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
so,
dude.
Yeah.
Oh.
Look at that. It's just like those were the same scenario. Those buyers all piled in there, and then they stopped out so fast.
Wow.
And that could have been a phenomenal entry, and I saw it as an opportunity. But like I said, I somehow couldn't see shorts.
Yeah.
I couldn't see it properly, and so I didn't act. And then what I did do is I took a inverse head and shoulders on SPY, basically right where you have the right screen.
Yeah.
Right there is pretty much where I entered. And I was going for the inverse head and shoulders again, trying to force the long, and then I got stopped out really quick.
Yeah.
Another thing that I could have benefited from this day was being able to switch my plan from bullish to bearish. And, the less attached to it you are, and the more in the present moment you are, the more you can switch from being bullish to bearish. But clearly this day, like I said, I was super biased for some reason, and it was hard for me to switch. But one of the things I'm noting in my journal is to be able to switch. When it moves against me, or when I'm able to see one plan's not working out, look at the alternative to the downside and say, okay, what are the probabilities that this could sell off? And put myself in the place of an opposing trader in that moment, and ask myself, what's he doing? Where's his stop?
Yes.
What does he need to see for selling to continue? And if I had done that correctly, I think I would have been able to capture this short play off of my entry. So my entry was at 507 to 52, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, very close there. And look how we came up and retested it.
Yeah.
Boom.
Perfect.
Came up, whipped it from the bottom side.
Yeah.
Showing weakness with a lower low,
yeah.
lower high. Like I should have been in that trade, and I don't know what I was doing, but maybe I was busy.
well, what I love is that you're diving into it, right? Like that's what's going to make it so you change in the next time, right? Like how many times do we just go, oh, I don't know, and just like I don't know why I took it, whatever, and just walk away, right? It's like it's so crazy how much I dive into myself now, meaning like I was just talking about, why didn't I take this in the beginning? Why didn't I take this morning? Was it my ego? Was I didn't want to be proved wrong? Did I have, did I want to see buyers come in and just, completely fake the whole market out because I thought that made sense? Like shedding light on that is going to open you up to acceptance, which is, an extremely high frequency state of mind, right? Like acceptance, right? Like I don't need to know. I don't need to know what's going to happen. The market's going to tell me if I'm able to see it and be aware of it, the market's going to tell me. Other than that, I'm not going to see it, right? Like desire's extremely low on the frequency chart, right? It's literally extremely low. It's right below anger, right? So like desire is your ego completely. Like I want this to go higher, so I'm only going to look for this sort of play. And like anytime we're in that state, we literally can't see properly, right? Like, and I'm, without getting too off guard, right? This is a big, topic for me because I find myself in states where I want to see a certain thing, or it doesn't make sense. Only my way makes sense. Me. And those are the days I don't do well, right? But the days where I'm way more acceptant, like just like you said, in that moment, and just completely objective, complete flow state, willingness and acceptance, extremely high frequency emotions is going to get you the best results. So
yeah,
but
the thing is with these moves is like, okay, if we missed a move, there's nothing to analyze. You can't analyze a P&L,
right?
Can't analyze a win or a loss. The only thing that you can analyze is what were you thinking when price was doing that one thing.
Yeah,
this is what I love about this game is like we're allowed to analyze our thoughts. There's no cap on analyzing your thoughts. Obviously, you don't want to get over analytical.
Yeah,
but you want to understand where your thoughts are coming from. What thoughts were you having when you were in that moment?
Yeah.
Where were they coming from?
Yes.
What state of mind were you in?
Yeah.
Why were you not able to see clearly?
All right.
And these are all ways that we can analyze our behaviors without losing any money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. With no cost. And like,
yeah, no cost.
And once again, right? Like just accepting, hey, maybe I'm not seeing clearly, so I'm not going to trade. Boom. Acceptance, super high frequency emotion. You're going to do better that way, right? Like, it's just like, dude, look how it hit 4337 and just boom, buyers. It's so
wow.
It's so.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, dude, look at that.
Because you got pre-market. It's because you got pre-market.
Yeah, and the reason why I love having pre-market off is these are the daily levels. The lows on these candles are the daily.
That's it right there.
Yeah, it's the daily lows, right? Like these are the levels with all the vol. Not 7:32 a.m. pre-market. That level's got no vol. These levels got all the volume.
Nah.
You know what I mean? Not saying pre-market.
I messed it up this week, man.
Yeah, that's
I never once pulled up with pre-market off. Never once this week.
Oh yeah, that's one thing SPX will help keep me grounded in a little bit. Is like those.
That's a good point. Right.
It's like it's always got that off. The next day.
Yeah.
The next day was a really good day. I really like this day. Let me see over here what I did. Oh, I'm pretty sure I have it. No, I did not. Hold up.
So I remember on this day.
Oh, dude.
My my main upside target
here we go.
for this day on SPY was the weekly open. So like imagine you have open print on a daily chart, and if you're below it, it's going to act as a magnet later in the day. It's exactly the same on the weekly time frame. You want to watch the weekly open and mark that as a level on your chart and use that as a price magnet, because we went exactly into it at 512 on this day, and it helped me as an upside price magnet. It was beautiful.
Yeah. Bro, it's exactly. It's like using, just using the levels, dude. I really like this day because once I knew the gap fill was invalidated, I was able to capitalize on that, right? Like, so got SPX up here on the left. Let me pull up the 5-minute. Okay. So I took a different type of a long here over here on off the open, right? So look at here, right? So price falls below open print, we get a sell off. So in my mind, I'm going, okay, short play down to end of day, but the gap, bro, the gap between price and the 9 keeps me away from losing so much money constantly. Massive sell-off, but we get a gap. So now in my mind, I'm going, what does a snapback look like? And what are my upside targets? Right? So let me see here. Let me map out real quick. Here we go. So we had previous day high, which was a really good level. And then we had the previous day end of day, which is something we got to be aware of. Right? Once again, using those daily levels. So once price ripped above the opened here, right? What I want to point out is the relationship between price and the 9 and how it's hugging it, right? So you can see we're ripping into the open print and sellers couldn't hold it, right? So this is one of those scenarios where I go with the 50-50, right? So when price comes into structure here, once again, let me just highlight this little gap. This thing helped me understand the shift so much. The gap here, sell off, rip above it, come down, buyers holding this candle, right? So little mini bullish structure here. And I guess this level is insignificant, 50.98, until buyers do this. Look at, once buyers defend that level very well, that's going to catch my eye, right? So now I'm going to grab the top of this candle. And I'm going to go, okay, what's going to happen here, right? Buyers defend it. We rip above the open. And then we got previous day high right here. So I didn't want to long into PDH, right? But once again, I'm just being aware of what it looks like with acceptance, right? So I caught this move on the 2-minute. So you're going to see the 2-minute here. I went long on this candle here. Once we ripped above the one before it, right? Using the 5-minute as well. Using how price was holding the 9 here, I was able to put a long on right here on the 2-minute and capture a move all the way up to here. Not a big move, bro. Nothing crazy. Literally caught a move from here to here. That was it. Boom. Super simple trade. I would have liked to get
hits, baby.
Yeah, I would have liked to get in a little bit earlier. But this is, once again, this is how the game works, right? It's not always going to be a perfect play here, perfect play there. It's understanding the story, right? Like the biggest thing was the sell-off couldn't hold. I guess you could say I could have used that to get in the trade earlier. I just didn't want to fight open print with a gap fill. I didn't want to fight PDH. I felt like right here I had very low risk with upside reward. This is a $7 move on SPX, pays, that's about 70 cents on SPY. So, meets my equation, meets my profitability. Boom. Right? So And then, but look at that rip into previous day high and how it was respected so well.
Oh, that was a beautiful trade.
Yeah.
I was bummed that I missed that. I think I stepped away from my computer for like 5 minutes, and I came back, and price had moved so far away that it was too much for me to risk going down to PDH, and so I couldn't take it.
Yeah.
And I was bummed that I couldn't be in it. But
yeah,
I actually took that one long, Josh, and I was super proud of myself because I felt like it was one of your little
breakouts,
one of your plays where you capture right when the conditions change. So
yes.
I think I got in at like 10:30. So if you look at the 10:30 candle on SPY,
yes, right here.
So that big candle right there, that one, it closed so bullish and almost instantly invalidated that mini break and retest structure to the downside.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, if I see any sort of pullback to the 9 and it gets bought up, I
yeah.
hit it. And so that's what I did. So
yes.
that closing right there,
dude.
I was like, okay, whatever sellers are here are not very strong, and if we can get a pullback to the 9 and wick up, I'm in it. And I was mad proud of myself because it was like I don't normally capture these shift in momentum trades like you're really good at, and so I feel like I nailed it,
dude. Yeah, that's and know what's crazy, bro? So trading SPX like molded me into capturing these because the risk is so little. The risk on these trades is so little because think about it. You're longing at a spot where price literally needs to drop but a couple cents for you to understand you're wrong. And more importantly, sellers are here and they lost. So now you're trading with their stops. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Oh, bro, I bet, that's a very satisfying trade right there.
Yeah, it was great, and it was a little bit funny for me to find risk on this trade because normally, I think what I did is, so you see that huge green candle? I think I just had my stop at the bottom of that green candle.
Yeah,
that's SPX, but
yeah.
I think that's where it was, and it felt weird, honestly, to not have it at a super concrete level.
Yeah.
But I just had it at the base of that candle, and it seemed to make sense to me.
Yeah,
and, my only thing would have been to hold longer, and I beat myself up for not holding it. But I mean, I hit my 1 to 3, so I couldn't be mad. But at the same time, like we broke and retested off that open print, I believe, so well.
Yeah.
That like, I feel like if I had runners, I should have held through that. But I don't know, man. It's one of the things I'm journaling about and meditating on this week.
Yeah, you really can't beat yourself up too much about it, right? Like, once again, do equation, and play the equation. As long as you, I think you made an Instagram about it, reel, but you're like, all I have to do, once I'm aware of my risk reward, all what I have to do is show up, bro. And like, it's so powerful because, I mean, as I grow as a trader, I realize we're not here trading to be right. Being right, like obviously putting on winning trades is how you make money. But the true strength in this game is in your risk reward. That's it. And just being aware of it. Like I tell my clients, I don't care if it's I risk 20 to make 20. Be aware of it and stick to it. If you risk $20 a contract and make $20 a contract, and I sit here and tell you that works, cool. Your belief has no energy. But when you actually
powerful right there.
Yeah, right. But when you actually implement it and do it and see the results, right? They may be small, they may be big. That energy in that belief gets stronger. And now when you approach the market, you're not afraid of being wrong. Once again, acceptance, extremely high on the emotional frequency chart. When you're in a state of acceptance because you trust the risk reward, you don't trust your ability to trade, you trust the risk reward. Now you can see clearly. Now your ego is down. Now you're not worried about taking the L because you know my risk reward equation works. I don't care if it's 1-to-1 with a 51% win ratio. That's an equation. It's just like,
and if you find yourself bending your rules,
Bam.
You probably don't believe
Bam.
in your strategy. You haven't energized that belief
Yes.
yet. If you had full belief in it,
you won it.
You would show up every single day with full confidence
Yeah.
that you could do the same thing every day
Yeah.
and you will win in the long term. And ask yourself, if you're bending your rules, do I really believe in it?
Yeah.
You know how many coin flip experiments I've done
Yes.
to prove to myself beyond any doubt in my mind that if I stick to this strategy,
it works.
will work out for me. Like
Yeah.
I have worked on this belief, and you have to earn that belief.
Yeah.
You can't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to believe it.
Yeah.
You have to earn it.
You have to.
And I think you just got to do that over
Yeah.
the long term.
Well, another thing I did, and I do with a lot of my clients, is we argue it, right? And I post it in the Discord. I'm not gonna get into it right now, but I encourage everybody to go to the Self Mastery Belief channel, right, where I argue the pros and cons of holding on to a losing trade. And it's crazy because in that, right, like I'm just gonna read off real quick the first three, because this is crazy, bro. Because, and once again, Darren, I wouldn't be aware of this unless I took the time and argued to myself if it's worth it or not, right? So real quick, the pros of holding on to a trade and not respecting your stop, right, is hopefully getting lucky and winning the trade. But the money doesn't mean hold on, bro. The money isn't what you're after. It's the loss of the ego that you're after. You're trying to win back your ego, because how many times have you been holding and hoping, and then the money came back and you still held longer? Because once again, it's not about the money. It's about being right.
No, it's your ego.
Yes, it's about being right.
You're like, it finally happened.
Yeah, of course I got my money back. I was right. Now I need more, right? And then you get smoked. And then number two, once again, may get lucky and make some money back, which you won't take anyways because you're operating out of a state of greed and fear, right? Low frequency state. Chances are you'll continue to hold when your money comes back and saying F it and lose a lot more. And then this one really stuck out to me. Number three, it adds thrill to your trading to not respect your stop, which increases dopamine during a state of low frequency, during a state of low dopamine because of loss aversion. So when I'm losing, I don't have much dopamine. I don't feel well. Adding thrill to that equation, bro, adding thrill to that equation is going to give me dopamine, which is going to make it attractive, which is why you may see yourself performing this behavior and ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Well, it's because you're trying to get dopamine, right? So
this is wild,
bro.
I love it,
bro, dude.
It's like I've been in each one of these situations, and I know this is what my mind is doing.
Yeah,
it's
bro,
crazy.
Bro, it's nuts. Hold on, real quick. Well, actually, I'm not. It might crash Discord, right? But yeah, everybody go check that out. It's in Beliefs. I then do the cons as well, right? And this is what I had to do, though, Darren, to, like we talked about, energize the correct belief, right? Because like you said, if I truly believed in risk reward, I wouldn't be holding losers, right? Like there would be no reason. It wouldn't make sense to. And like, it's just so nuts, bro, because this is the game we're playing, right? It's like what, but bring it back, right? The profitability comes from risk reward, nothing else. Trading SPX really highlighted that for me, but you don't have to trade SPX to learn that. Obviously, you can do anything. Like Darren said, the coin flip doesn't matter what it is. If you want to figure it out, you will, and that's that.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, but yeah, I argue it, and you don't have to just do this with that. Stop loss. Do this with any trading area you're having. Argue it. I always think of that meme of that guy holding the coffee mug saying "Prove me wrong." Right? Like he'll have some crazy thing up on his table, and he'll be like, "Prove me wrong," right? Or like, "Let's talk about it." That's literally like, and then real quick here to finish up Wednesday. Notice the gap on the 1 hour between price and the 9, right? This kept me from longing the market, and then when these sellers came in, it made a lot of sense to me. Any reversal trade I take, and I'm going to show you guys on Friday how I was able to capitalize on a great long. Watch that 9 on the 1 hour. This guides me so much, Darren. Like look at the day before, right? When we got that mega sell off, right? Say you wanted to go short, say a great opportunity popped up here at like 9:30 or something on what is that, Tuesday, right? Say you wanted to like short this break and retest or something.
Check the 9.
Check the 9 on the 1 hour. It's gonna save you. It's gonna save you. I used to get caught on shorts like this because I would miss this move, right? I would miss the initial move in the morning and it'd come up for a retest. I'd take this short. Now I'm like, absolutely not. I'm not playing with this. Look at the gap on the 9. Instead, I'll sit back, maybe wait for it to catch up. Then when it catches up, now you could look for another short play and you'll find yourself saving a lot of money doing that. So it's so wild what that 1 hour does with that 9. It really, really helps.
Bro, it's taken me a while to trust the 9. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, well, you had to earn it.
Start talking about it did not. It's not like the first time I looked at it, I was like, "Ooh, oh wow,"
It's great.
Like you have to energize the belief in it.
Yeah.
It's exactly like we were talking about.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen all at once,
Right.
I was skeptical at first. I didn't believe that it worked on the hourly time frame too.
Right.
But I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna believe it first. I'm just gonna watch it and see how it speaks to me.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
It really helps me.
Well, I used to shy away from moving averages, indicators, because I heard someone say it and it sounded good. And then I asked myself, I'm like, hold up, like, what if the biggest thing we talked about before is like, if I use it to get out of trades or to understand a trend, right? Like maybe it's got value. And then I started to realize it doesn't matter what you use, it's how you use it. And then I started to be like, okay, and then I got hyper aware of what a healthy trend looked like and what an unhealthy trend looked like, which basically just means the gap or no gap. And it helps me. The 9 helps me so much to not only make great trades, but to avoid bad ones. And the profit taking as well is insane. This day was really cool. I actually just made a YouTube video on this day. Beautiful retest here off.
Yeah.
Beautiful retest here off previous day high. Beautiful retest off open print, right? It just ripping. Was that was also all-time high. Yeah, hold on. Let me see.
It was.
All-time high was, okay, this is what it looked like. So it was a plate into all-time high. And where did I go long? Hold up. Open print. Hold on. Where's SPY?
I remember you went long at the same time as me, but you did SDX.
10:30.
I think it was 11:20.
Oh yeah, that trade as well.
Maybe you re-entered.
Yes. Right here. Bam. This trade.
Yeah. Okay. So you did twice. Yeah, you did twice.
Yeah. So I long this. I long this in the morning, right? Into all-time high. I actually took this on my first trade was at 10:35, right? Because we ripped into all-time high. Buyers closed above the red bar ignored, basically, right? Where that red bar right there was completely ignored. And I took this long, caught the breakout here up into all-time high. Really quick move. 2 minute looked a lot different. And then price started to come down and play with all-time high, right? So I initially took this trade at 11:20, just like Debo said. 11, this candle. I took this long on this candle at 11:25. And it was a very close trade with the stop. My stop was below this candle, and I was able to hold on to this and catch a nice move where I ended up booking profits right up here. My arrow's different. Darren, how much of this did you catch?
Bro.
Because you held it. Didn't you hold it?
So I don't know what caused me to get out where I did, but literally the highest candle that we made that day.
No
But
way.
I'm not even kidding you. That last wick, yeah. I don't know how I did it. Actually, I do. I was watching QQQ. So the minute that I made that top was the minute that QQQ touched all-time high.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
that's
yeah,
when,
look at that.
It was creeping up to all-time high, and then it sold off. And so that's basically exactly when I took it. But I mean,
well done.
This trade was crazy, and you know what was also crazy? I shouldn't have been in it because, okay, so I had 10 contracts, and all the stops were for the exact same strike price, and we wicked down, and it closed 3 of my 10 contracts, but not the other one.
That's happened
Explain
to
me how that works. I have no idea.
It's weird.
I was just sitting there waiting for the rest to close, and they never closed. I was like, all right, I guess I have another shot. There was only
3 people.
So then those are the ones I had.
Yeah, there was only 3 contracts left of some order that got filled. That's insane.
Damn.
Yeah.
I guess that's what happened.
Yeah. And then price.
They were all at the same price because I never moved my stop. I just put in the bracket order and I let it run.
Well,
and yeah, that was super weird.
Limit orders are bracket orders are multiple limit orders. So that makes sense, right? Like you have a specific limit that you'll sell at.
And they were not market. Yeah, they were not market.
Yeah, so price came down to, let's just say, $100 a contract, only for enough time to get 3 filled. Wow, yeah, that's a hell of a. Well, and bro, I
was really, really grateful, bro. But this trade was way frustrating to hold, man. Like, of course, I had time decay.
Oh, right here too. Yeah.
One pullback right there. Yeah. So close. And I was like, all right, there's nothing I can do. I'm not moving the stop. I accepted the risk, and I was just waiting. And the biggest thing, it was really frustrating.
The biggest thing, bro, is like, I want to point out in this trade is look at the trend line, right? So I'm not going to lie to you guys. Right. Like trend lines are questionable, right? You got to be careful when trading them. More importantly, just always ask yourself, how is price reacting to it, right? Like a trend is a form of measurement. That's all it is. Like I used to think it was a magic tool that represented a bull flag or something. Dude, a trend is a form of measurement. Everything is measurement, right? Whether it's a moving average, trend, a pattern, right? There's price, and price is fluctuating. And based on how price moves is a measurement of its strength or weakness. So when you get a trend that's broken, right? Initially, it's a strength of a sign of, strength in a certain direction. When something like this happens, right, and you capture a move up, I booked that relatively quick, and then price came down and started to play with trend. Now, there's 2 things that can happen here. If we snap below trend, this thing's gonna sink. It's gonna sink, dude. Like I've seen this before, where if this trend can't hold, it's over. But if it holds, ask yourself, like once again, it's next to all-time high. You're super extended from the 9, right? Like, and dude, when we get ultra extended from the 9, that's actually what kept me in this trade. Because look how extended we were from the 9 when we came down. I had my stop here. I always put my stop a little below the level, right? Because SPX it'll drip below it and grab the liquidity and soar. So I always got it like a little below. Obviously not like extreme, but just using that 9 once again to understand. All right, it's really extended, so it makes sense for a liquidity grab. I caught one more.
Yeah.
I was
also drawing all sorts of lines and stuff this day, which was after I got in the trade. It wasn't the reason I got in the trade. I just was so bored for waiting for price to do something. I was just sitting around like, what the heck is going on? So I started drawing all these lines and channels and stuff. But yeah, that's kind of funny.
I ended up catching a move right here. This move paid out 118%, right? And it was extremely risky. It was extremely risky, bro. It was at 330. This was at 330 when I'm sorry, 315. I entered the trade on this candle, this one. And my stop was below this candle, right? So you can see I'm a very tight risk right here. I'll paint it for everybody. So my risk was right here. I was using this level. What is this, 15? I'll pull up SPY. Then it's just easier to say all the numbers and stuff on SPY. I'm not used to SPX numbers that much yet. But all right, so on SPY, you're gonna see this level here at 514.85, right? Okay. We rip above it, we come below it. Now, we're coming up for a retest. Initially, I wanted to short this down to 15.13. I wanted to short play down to open print because buyers couldn't hold. And then we, once again, get a massive sell-off on this candle, and we're way below the 9, right? Like super extended, which usually tells me the law of polarity, right? Like if it's going to move down, it's going to move down equally, right? Like look it up here, right? Like equal up and down movements, but just a little more buyers. You know, when you get a massive sell-off and it snaps back, it doesn't necessarily mean reversal. I'm just like, okay, what if I was short here, what would make me stop out? We closed above the 9. That would have been one of my first reasons to get out of my short play. But more importantly, you know, when I see that snapback, I'm going, okay, is there any levels next to it? Like, what does any of this make sense, right? Could there be a buyer there, right? And then we had this level right here too. So I'm like, okay, you know, and then I looked at the 1 hour a bit, and I was like, okay, I'm willing to put on risk here to the upside. Like I told you guys, I went long on this candle. My stop was below this one, right? So I'm risking about 20, like 30 cents here for a move up into the high of this candle. Right. And I love trades like this because A, you're playing off seller stops. B, they're really quick and fast and at the end of the day, so they pay very well. And you know, more importantly, your risk is, I mean, I was still risking probably around $200 on per contract on this trade because, you know, price is going to fluctuate that much on your premiums at this time of the day. It's wild. But I was aware of that.
Oh, this is 0 day for the last
yeah,
half hour.
Yeah. And I bought the I bought the 5150 contract, so it was fine. They were about $200. I sold them for about $440. So it's like one contract, 200. Risking 100 of it, right? About 80 to 100 of it to make 200, right? So once again, risking 80 to make 200. Boom, that works for me, right? And just caught a quick little move, capitalizing on the break of structure. And I love these plays. Super extended from the 9. Right? Check this out. So it was easy for me to book profits up here at 514.40 or 514.40. And that was it, dude. Just quick little move. I love moves like this, bro. These are my bread and butter right here. And then Friday. Right? Friday.
Oh, okay.
Looking back, Friday, I did do some deep journaling on this, and it's just, you know, I mean, live, you guys seen it. I just couldn't find the conviction I wanted to play long. I mean, looking back, obviously there was a million reasons to play this market long. And the thing is, though, is that, you know, and I'm not trying to find a cop out here, but I mean, I watched the live a couple times. Volume the price was fluctuating like crazy. Like, you know, and I'm not trying to find an excuse here. I'm just saying it was kind of hard to get in a trade with a specific amount of risk, right? I mean, and it makes sense. There was news. We were blowing past all-time highs. There really wasn't much structure, but just want to point out, you know, going long with tight risk, low size, you could always do that. Or you could just sit back and watch it like me and Darren did. It's completely fine. You know what I mean? You don't necessarily have to capture the move, right? Like, I think that's when Darren said it. You don't need, like, I have nothing to prove to anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Just because the market's moving doesn't mean you have to trade it.
Yeah. And like, that's the false sense I tell myself. I'm like, oh, it's ripping past all-time high. Oh, it's doing this. Oh, I'm not going to capture it. Oh, all these influencers are going to capture it, not me, right? Like, that's all bullshit. None of that shit that doesn't make me money. That doesn't make sense. I don't need it to. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the stuff we put in our brain. I did take a long up here. Looking back, I feel like I just kind of pulled the trigger because I missed this. But at the end of the day, this is a great learning opportunity. So I took this trade for one reason and one reason only, which is unacceptable. is the gap between price and the 9. And this is a great opportunity for us to explain when you put on a trade, that everything I talk about with the 9 DEMA is invalid without certain requirements, right? Like without critical levels, without certain structure, right? Don't just take a trade because we're extended from the 9 and you miss this one, right? I feel like that's kind of why I took this trade. I feel like I missed out on this in a way. I wanted to put risk on the table with buyers. It looked extremely bullish. I mean, there definitely was some buying here, but once again, my edge and my strategy doesn't consist of just longing the market because we're below the 9 and we're extended. You know what I mean? And I think this was a great opportunity to highlight that. It was funny because once I think, Darren got in this because the auto send.
No. My finger got in it. I did. My finger did. Yeah, I had auto send.
Damn finger.
So when I hit buy and it said the thing immediately, all I was trying to do was like pull my contracts up so I could hit enter.
Yeah.
If we closed above these inside bars, which we never did.
Yeah.
But my finger had ulterior motives, so it's all good.
I think it's funny though. Once we got in this, you're like, I really wanted to play. I really wanted to wait for the 9 to hold. Once you said that, sellers respected that 9 perfect. But so what? Who cares? Risk reward. That's all what matters. Dude, literally lost pennies on this. It did not lose any more than I should have on this trade. You know what I mean? Stop was in.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop was counted. So be it. Once again, the power's not in being right. The power's in your risk reward ratio and your ability to follow it. Darren caught a beautiful move to the downside off open print retest. Right? Was that it, or was it? Oh.
Let me see. So I got it. I got it on the 11:20 candle. Was it open print?
Yes. No. You got in the 11:20. So it was all-time high, previous all-time high. You played short off.
Oh, okay, that's what it was.
Lovely.
Yes. It was off that all-time highs. Yeah, man. I really wanted, as soon as I saw us close below that 9, which was originally my criteria for getting in that bomb.
Yeah.
I was like, all right,
opposing
in a
side
world, that is the moment that I should have entered.
Yeah.
And then I asked myself, okay, we made a lower low. So SPY had made a lower low. We were looking extremely bearish at the low of the day.
Yeah.
Which was the candle that I entered, and QQQ had already made a clear lower low.
Yeah.
And the combination of those two things and failing to hold all-time high that miserably, I just felt like it was going to be some sort of downside momentum, and I had a perfect stop at previous all-time highs.
Yeah.
And I held till my 1 to 3, but here again, I should have let some runners go.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with that big of a sell-off.
Yeah.
I should at least had at least 2 of my runners, making some more money for me because we sold off so much.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna change my bracket order to maybe leave 2 runners. So at least take 2 of my 4.
Yeah.
At my 1 to 3, and then leave the last 2 as runners. Because it doesn't make any sense to not leave at least 1 runner.
Yeah, 100%. There's the biggest thing, right? Is it was a really good trade though, bro. It was a really good trade.
Yeah,
it was fire. You did a great job with switching from bullish to bearish. Look at it once again, mega sell off, but look how price is respecting the 9. This is the most crucial thing right here, right? Because I used to tell myself, oh well. It doesn't have to respect the 9 if it's selling off extensively, and that's bullshit. Because even in massive sell-offs, it respects the 9. Down here, it didn't, but I mean, it still hugged it. But what I really liked right here, though, is price rips up to 514.85. Look at the gap here between the 9 and price. That would have been a beautiful short play. Like I told you guys, I just couldn't wrap my head around shorts. But that
wasn't open print, right?
Nah, it wasn't end of day. It was end of day. It was end of day.
Oh, really?
Yes, dude. It was off end of day. I can't believe I didn't take that. But I want to highlight that.
It was off end of day.
I want to highlight that to everybody, right? If price is ripping into, like, just because this large green candle pops up doesn't mean anything. When I see a massive green candle, all that I see now is the gap between price and the 9. And I go, if I'm holding this long, am I going to hold? Absolutely not. If I'm in this long and there's a gap between price like that, there's no way I'm holding this long. Instead, use that understanding of price in the 9 to go, okay, I'm okay with entering short here because 9 times out of 10, price retracts to the 9. So I'll go short here with tight risk and go from there. That's what I wanted to do, didn't do. Look how price respected the previous day open print. Once again, those daily time frame levels are going to always help. I mean, look at that. That was previous open print there, Debo. Perfect break below. Once again, super extended on the retest. I mean, not super, but I mean a bit. So I didn't put on a trade until this candle. I went long on this candle, this red candle. Perfect entry. Once again, the inverse head and shoulders. But I'm going to tell you guys why I took this long, because we were actually, okay, so the biggest thing here was 512. So 512, if you come over here on the screen on the right, you're going to see this is a structure. This is bullish structure. Once again, we closed below it on the 1 hour. Very bearish. You know, like the old Josh would have been like, this thing's it's going to sink to 510. It's over. But look at the gap between the 9 and price on the 1 hour. It's huge. It was massive. So I'm going, okay, instead of taking this short, I mean, there was no retest. I wasn't going to short it. It just sold below it. I was like, what happens if we get back above 512? Right? Because I knew there was a bunch of sellers piling in here because of the breakout below. And I'm like, okay, boom, we pop above 512, structure breaks. And I'm like, okay, I'm willing to play this long, at least back into, what was it? My first target was 513.10, which is a dollar move, into pre-market low. And then if we got above pre-market low, I was going to target 514 or 513.84, right? So I was able to capture a dollar. What was this? What's a $1.80 move here on SBX in like 20 minutes? This thing just rallied. It was wild, bro. I watching this. I was blown away. It's such a good way to end the week for me. Just caught this really good, like $180 move. Booked profits right up here at 514, and bro, these contracts literally, right? I bought these for $350 and sold them for almost $1,000. Just massive move, really fast.
I mean, stop outs.
Yeah,
that's the end of the trend.
Yeah,
you caught the end of the trend. Now it's turning bullish. So everybody's out of their short positions. Everybody who's who held their profits. Like, okay, in an alternative universe where I held my profits, where I held my runners, you would have bought those contracts off me.
Yeah.
Right there. Bam.
Yep. Right when you were getting out.
Took them the other way.
Yep.
Yep.
And it's that back and forth relationship and understanding of the relationship that's going to really help you make these moves, right? Like there's been countless of times where I would short right here back in my old days, right? I'd go short here. Oh, broke below level. Let's go. Or, et cetera. And it's like when these candles happen, I'm like, I need to get out of this. Structure broke, right? Like you could feel it in your gut. Like this isn't right. You're supposed to get a retest here off 512. You didn't. It blew right past it, right? And then I needed to see that acceptance off the level, and I also needed a really good spot for my risk because contracts right here you'll buy for $350, and at this candle they're worth $100. You know what I mean? So this is a very if you're playing SBX on this day or even SPY, I mean 0 day at what was this 2:00? You got to be ready.
Oh, this again, right.
Yeah, you're either gonna make a lot of money or you're gonna get stomped out very fast. So, and once again, just be aware of that and use it for your benefit. I mean, yeah, it's those factors make it risky. But if you're trading the 9 and you're trading structure, you really, in the story, you're going to have the edge. So it was a great move. I mean, it really, really great way to end the week. I was really pumped on that. And I love, like you were saying in the beginning, Darren, I love catching these break of structures. They're really good. So, but yeah,
I feel like that's true present moment price action.
Yeah, well, I think that's,
and, are we always going to be there every day? You don't have to. But at least you know that it's happening.
Yeah.
And you know where you can place yourself mentally to be ready for it.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's like, I think I really gravitate towards those trades because they make me. You can't be biased in that trade. You have to just be observant, right? Like, this day was extremely bearish. Like this, this thing looked like it was going down to 510. I mean, it was just knifing through levels, and then and then you see your edge, you act. It's literally just, that's all we could do. Like, that's the goal. So, I mean, more of this weekly recap, guys, is, obviously we talked about the stop loss needs to be respected. If you're having any trouble with that, you need to argue it, right? If you're having trouble with anything, you need to argue it. You could hear anybody say it online. You could hear people talk about risk reward. You could hear people talk about stops. And none of it's going to matter until you choose to respect it. So energize that belief, the beliefs you need, and really question it. Be like, dude, all right, does it make sense to hold in hope? If so, don't doubt. Like, but if not, you need to square that away, because those conflicting beliefs they're gonna cause trading errors. And I'm not sitting here saying I'm perfect by any means. I screw up constantly, right? It's just become aware of your weaknesses and try to turn them into strengths. So, yeah,
100%. That's exactly what I would have said. Energize the belief. Ask yourself if you really believe in it.
Yeah.
And ask yourself, are your actions this past week aligning with the fact that you do believe in it?
Yeah.
And I think if you're honest with yourself, you'll come up with the answer.
Yeah.
But the goal is ultimate belief. Ultimate belief. There's no confusion about what you're going to do.
Yeah.
None. You come to the market with with complete confidence and peace.
Yeah.
Because you know what it takes for you to act. You know exactly when you'll act and what you'll do when the price goes to these various places. We don't need to know what price does, because we know what we will do in every moment.
Yes.
That's basically it.
Yeah. Like, and before we wrap up, like, as you grow as a trader and you start seeing profits, like, one thing I'm dealing with, I'll just keep it real, is like, there's no cap in this game. So don't put a cap on yourself, right? Like, sometimes we start seeing some money. We start, we equate, $400 trade with a good day, or maybe it's 40, or maybe it's 4,000. Doesn't matter, right? Learn to accept that there's no cap, and you don't need to, book something just because you are at a specific value. That's a really big one, because it's a gray area, right? Because obviously your risk reward, your 1 to 3, whatever works for you. But at the same time, don't be afraid to level up. Don't be afraid to push yourself, right? Like, if you feel like you're trading well, scale up. If you don't, scale down until you do. And if you're at one contract and you're failing, right, just ask yourself, am I aware of my risk reward, right? Like, does it work? What's my win ratio, right? Like, put the work in, right? Like, if you put the work in, you'll figure it out. So, great recap, guys. Thank you, everybody, for coming, right? This was a really good one. Went over a little bit, but that's okay. Hope everybody has a great weekend, and we're all going to see each other on Monday. So I'll see you there.
Catch you guys later. Peace.
Peace.